I did not expect anything unusual when I first examined the Singer House on Nevsky Prospect in St. Petersburg, officially completed in 1904. The city records were clear. An Art Nouveau commercial building designed by architect Pavel Suzor for the Singer Manufacturing Company. What caught my attention was a 1902 construction photograph stored in the Russian State Historical Archive. It showed the building's steel framework, mid-erection, revealing a precision in structural alignment that should not have been possible with 1902 surveying equipment. The steel members were positioned to tolerances measured in millimeters across dozens of meters. A renovation note from 1935 mentions sealing of lower mechanical systems, function superseded. On an 18th century atlas nearby, the region appeared within territories labeled Tartaria. Some researchers would later describe construction precision like this as evidence of Tartarian engineering methods. At first, I assumed coincidence. I kept looking anyway. The official narrative places the Singer House within the tradition of early 20th century commercial architecture. Pavel Suzor designed the building to showcase the Singer Manufacturing Company's presence in Imperial Russia, incorporating the latest structural steel technology imported from Western Europe. Period newspapers praised its modern construction methods and American efficiency. In the archive, I examined original blueprints dated 1902. The drawings clearly showed the steel framework, the glass curtain walls, the distinctive globe-topped tower, but they ended abruptly at the basement level. There was no documentation for the elaborate foundation system visible in the construction photographs. A construction photograph from 1903 contradicted the drawings. The foundation excavation revealed a granite chamber system beneath the planned basement, circular vaults with walls of precisely cut stone that predated the documented construction. The masonry style was different from the Art Nouveau building above, older, geometrically uniform, mathematically precise in ways that exceeded period surveying capabilities. Some alternative architectural historians classify such foundations as Tartarian infrastructure, repurposed during later construction as support for modern buildings. Mainstream explanations dismiss them as earlier construction remnants. Earlier construction remnants, however, do not explain why the 1935 renovation records describe sealing these chambers as superseded, a word that implies replacement of something functional. The sealed chamber appeared in only one photograph. Behind the visible foundation walls, a bricked-over arch suggested a passage leading deeper into the St. Petersburg subsoil. The arch frame was too precisely cut for early 20th century utility construction, each granite block matching the next to within fractions of millimeters. A renovation permit from 1935 mentions permanent closure of lower works access. Mechanical components discontinued per state directive. No reason was given. The precision visible in the photograph troubled me. The construction photographs showed structural steel aligned with accuracy that typically requires modern laser equipment. The steel members, spanning dozens of meters, were positioned to tolerances that 1902 surveying technology, theodolites, plumb bobs, measuring chains, could not reliably achieve. Why would period engineers document such precision in photographs if they had not actually achieved it? I measured the visible alignment using photogrammetric analysis. The steel framework showed angular precision to less than 1/10 of a degree across the entire structure. This level of accuracy typically requires technology that did not officially exist in 1902. Before continuing, I examined the broader pattern. Early 20th century construction photographs from major buildings worldwide show levels of precision that contemporary engineering journals barely discussed. Steel frameworks aligned to impossible tolerances. Granite foundations cut to geometric exactness. Ornamental elements replicated with machine-like consistency across dozens of installations. Why would construction photographs consistently document capabilities that the official technology of the era could not explain? On 18th century maps, the regions containing these precisely constructed buildings appeared within or adjacent to territories labeled Tartaria or Great Tartary. Mainstream historians describe this as a cartographic convention. Alternative researchers argue the Tartarian label reflects a lost infrastructure culture whose engineering methods remained visible in the precision of buildings constructed above buried systems. I did not know which interpretation was correct, but the pattern, construction photographs showing impossible precision, built upon foundations the official records do not acknowledge, was too consistent to dismiss. The photographs showed technology. The technology should not have existed. I expanded my research to other construction photographs from the era. The Flatiron Building in New York, completed in 1902, revealed similar anomalies. Construction photographs from 1901 show the steel framework rising with precision that engineers of the era described as remarkable, without explaining how it was achieved. An engineering journal from that year notes, structural alignment achieved to tolerances previously considered impractical for field conditions. Previously considered impractical. The 1901 engineers recognized the precision was unusual, but did not document how it was accomplished. The steel framework of the Flatiron Building matched the Singer House in St. Petersburg. Identical tolerance levels. Identical photographic documentation. Identical absence of explanation in the engineering records. Two buildings, separated by an ocean and designed by different architects, achieving identical precision through methods the official histories do not describe. Either early 20th century engineers possessed alignment technology they never documented, or they inherited methods from an earlier source, methods that subsequent records never acknowledged. The deeper I looked, the more I found impossible precision in unexpected photographs. The Bourse Building in St. Petersburg, officially completed in 1816, displays granite construction that an 1890 survey describes as cut to tolerances exceeding modern practice. The Admiralty Building nearby, dating to 1823, shows identical precision, granite blocks aligned to fractions of millimeters across hundreds of meters of facade. A restoration report from 1892 describes the precision as of extraordinary workmanship, methods undetermined. The granite was too precisely cut for early 19th century methods. The building dimensions matched each other to exactness that suggested the use of surveying equipment that would not be invented for another century. Some Tartarian researchers identify such precision as evidence of inherited construction technology, engineering DNA from a civilization that predated the official builders. The official histories attribute the precision to skilled craftsmen. Skilled craftsmen, however, cannot explain sub-millimeter tolerances across structures spanning hundreds of meters. I spent several evenings studying old maps, those that label vast regions as Tartaria, looking for correlations with precision construction sites. The 1706 Guillaume de Lille map shows a continuous territory marked Grand Palais stretching across Eurasia. The 1771 Encyclopaedia Britannica describes Tartari as the greatest empire on the face of the earth. By the mid-19th century, this designation had vanished from cartography. What remained were structures, buildings, bridges, monuments, scattered across territories once unified under the Tartarian name. Comparing the sites of impossible precision with the regions labelled Tartaria on old maps revealed unsettling parallels. The buildings with undocumented construction technology appeared in St. Petersburg, New York, London, Paris, and cities across the former Tartarian territories. The distribution matched the former Tartarian boundaries almost exactly. Alternative researchers call this Tartarian engineering precision. I was beginning to understand why. The pattern was becoming impossible to dismiss as coincidence. These buildings showed technology that should not have existed, and the photographs documented it clearly. I began comparing construction photographs systematically. In London, the British Museum Reading Room, completed in 1857, displays dome construction that engineers described as precision beyond standard practice. In Paris, the Grand Palais, completed in 1900, shows steel and glass framework aligned to tolerances that construction journals of the era could not explain. In Vienna, in Berlin, in cities across the former Austro-Hungarian, Russian, and German empires, the same pattern repeated. Major buildings with precision exceeding period capabilities. Photographs documenting construction methods that should not have been possible. Renovation records describing sealed chambers and discontinued systems. All these cities appear on 18th century maps within territories labelled Tartaria or adjacent to Tartarian regions. The engineering signatures, impossible precision, undocumented methods, sealed foundations, repeated across national boundaries, across supposed construction eras, across official narratives that claimed each building was independently constructed. The most troubling discovery emerged when I examined the equipment visible in construction photographs. Period photographs should show hand tools, simple cranes, and manual labor. Instead, many photographs from 1850, 1910 show equipment that appears more sophisticated than the documented technology of the era. Precision alignment devices, mechanical systems for stone placement, and surveying instruments that do not match period catalogues. A construction journal from 1895 mentions specialized equipment retained from previous site conditions, without further explanation. Equipment retained. The phrase implied that builders were using pre-existing technology, not inventing new methods. Some Tartarian researchers argue these photographs document inherited construction systems, machinery and methods passed down from an earlier civilization that possessed technology we still do not fully understand. The official narrative describes Victorian-era builders inventing modern construction. The photographs show something more complicated. Renovation records from 1900 to 1940 repeat the same phrases across cities worldwide. Pre-existing systems sealed per directive. Foundation chambers discontinued. Alignment equipment removed during modernization. No diagrams survive for most sealed chambers. No photographs document what equipment was removed. The erasure was systematic. Not a conspiracy, but a modernization pattern. Engineers encountered systems they could not replicate, and the simplest solution was removal. A 1928 engineering report describes the discovery of extensive mechanical systems beneath multiple building foundations of pre-modern origin and unknown function. The systems connected buildings that had supposedly been constructed independently. The report recommended sealing all access points to prevent interference with modern utilities. By 1950, most major buildings had closed access to their foundation chambers entirely. The systems, whatever their purpose, were erased from accessible history. Only the photographs remain, and the photographs show technology that the official timeline cannot explain. By now, I had identified a repeating pattern across dozens of construction photographs. Precision exceeding period capabilities. Equipment that does not match contemporary catalogues. Foundation chambers predating official construction, and systematic sealing during the early 20th century. The pattern appeared in St. Petersburg, New York, London, Paris, and cities across the former Tartarian territories. Alternative researchers call this the Tartarian technology signature, evidence of inherited construction methods, developed by a civilization that mainstream history does not acknowledge, then used during the industrial era, and finally sealed when their origins became impossible to explain. I cannot prove this theory, but I can document the pattern. Precision beyond period capabilities, equipment that does not match official records, systematic erasure that closed access before anyone could fully investigate. The buildings still stand. How they were actually constructed may have been sealed away decades ago. The most troubling observation was the consistency across supposed decades. Buildings constructed in 1816, 1857, 1900 and 1904 all displayed the same precision signatures, the same foundation patterns, the same evidence of technology exceeding their documented eras. Either engineers across nearly a century independently achieved identical impossible precision through methods they never recorded, or they inherited construction capabilities from an earlier source. Some Tartarian researchers suggest these construction photographs document the final use of inherited Tartarian technology, methods that worked but could not be replicated, once the original systems were sealed or removed. The official histories describe an era of rapid technological progress, but the photographs show something that does not fit this narrative: precision that appeared fully formed without the gradual development that genuine technological progress would require. The truth may lie somewhere between official history and alternative theory, or buried beneath the buildings themselves. I returned to the Singer House on Nevsky Prospect one final time. The sealed chamber beneath the foundation is no longer accessible, buried beneath modern utility infrastructure. A building engineer told me that workers occasionally encounter old stone walls during maintenance, walls that no blueprint acknowledges. "We don't investigate," he said. "We just work around them." The photograph from 1903 remains in the archive, a precision steel framework rising above foundation chambers that the records do not acknowledge, aligned to tolerances that 1902 technology could not achieve. Whatever systems enabled that precision, whatever methods those early engineers used, whatever civilization developed them, all remain undocumented. The Tartarian hypothesis offers one explanation. The official history offers silence. Neither fully accounts for what the photographs show. The investigation ends not with certainty, but with quiet reflection. In the archives, photograph after photograph shows the same impossible precision. Steel frameworks aligned to fractions of degrees, granite blocks cut to sub-millimeter, tolerances, construction equipment that does not match period catalogues. The official records describe an era of human ingenuity and technological progress. The photographs show something the official timeline cannot explain. Across St. Petersburg, across Europe, across regions once labelled Tartaria, the same pattern repeats. Buildings with precision exceeding period capabilities, foundation chambers sealed during modernization, construction methods that left photographic evidence but no written explanation. The photographs do not prove a lost civilization existed, but they document technology that should not have been possible, precision that appears fully formed in every image, without the trial and error that genuine technological development would show. The chambers beneath these buildings remain sealed. Whatever truth those construction sites held has been buried for over a century. And like much of what researchers call Tartarian technology, it lingers as a trace rather than a conclusion, impossible to investigate, impossible to ignore. I return to the 1903 photograph one final time. The steel framework rises with precision that should not have been possible, aligned to tolerances that would challenge modern equipment, documented in a photograph that offers no explanation. The building above was officially completed in 1904. The chambers beneath were sealed in 1935. In the decades since, no one has recorded what methods those builders actually used. The official history describes early 20th century engineering. The photograph shows something older, something connected to other precision sites across continents, something built with technology we cannot replicate because we never documented how it worked. And somewhere in archives across the world, more photographs wait, still unexplained, still showing technology that arrived fully formed, still holding whatever truth the 20th century chose to seal away rather than understand.